uh, for everyone everywhere. So Vanya, over to you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you. Um, I'm hello all from Bulgaria. I'm Vanya Grigorova, economic advisor of Confederation of Labor Podkrepa. In the presentation, you will see the level of our national minimum wage as a percentage of average and median wage. As a rule, state minimum wage in Bulgaria is at the bottom of the European salaries. Currently, it is 233 euro. Even though the minimum wage exceeds 60% of the median wage, that does not make it adequate. It is simply the effect of the median wage being ridiculously low. The disposable labor income is even lower. We have no non-taxable income, and in addition, there is no differentiated VAT on goods of vital necessity. If we compare the net minimum wage to the poverty line, we will see that the former is slightly above the level of poverty line. The inadequacy of the minimum wage is indicated by the fact that 30 to 40% of the whole disposable labor income of the low-paid workers is used for food. Monthly expenses of the average household illustrate how inadequate is the minimum wage. The data for foodstuffs and for non-food products is from our National Statistical Institute for 2019. It is the latest public data. The rent is for a small flat in the capital, but rental prices in the other major cities are similar. To summarize, the average household needs at least 2 minimum wages to be able to meet its ends. Please notice that the drugs, healthcare, and education expenses, for example, are not included in these calculations. Now, Lorenzo, please move to the next one. Now I'll show you the structure of wages in Bulgaria according to the official data of the National Revenue Agency. It is important to mention that the figures are not public, constraining our ability to analyze them. We obtained this data from the answer provided by the Minister of Finance to one of the members of Parliament. As you can see, low-paid employees, it is in the first group, low-paid employees are the largest group, 30% of people in gainful employment. In July 2020, we have an enormous drop in this group when we compare the figures of July 2019. It shrank by more than 240,000. One possible explanation is the effect of the state of emergency imposed because of the pandemic. The shutting down of the tourism and the restaurant sectors resulted in employers firing their staff. And according to some researchers, these are the sectors with the highest share of undeclared work. Obviously, the other wage groups, Lorenzo, please, to the previous, yes. Obviously, the other wage groups did not absorb the workers who were laid off from the first bracket. On the next one, please. And as I said, bracket, the low paid group covers people on wages up to just over the minimum. We have no concrete data how many workers in this bracket receive less than the minimum wage, but still there is a way to check. I already mentioned the data from the Ministry of Finance. It includes the number of workers in each wage group and how much taxes they pay totally. In Bulgaria, we have this innovative and modern flat 10% tax. So it is easy to find the average tax base and the average gross wages in this concrete group. As you can see in the graph, the average is 34% lower than the national minimum. It became crystal clear that the vast majority in this bottom group works for wages far below the national minimum. On the next slide, please. One of the main reasons for this phenomenon is the fact that in some sectors, like the garments industry, for example, the so-called piece rate pay is used. It's when the employer imposes a productivity norm that the worker must meet in order to receive the minimum wage. Often this rate is impossible to reach. Of course, there are also bogus part-time contracts. In agriculture, we have also the so-called one-day contract. It is very similar to zero-hour contracts, which European Commission intended but failed to prohibit it. And on the next, in our country, the level of the minimum wage depends on politicians' decisions. There are no clear criteria. Since many years, the social partners have put a lot of effort in negotiations to develop a methodology based on ILO Convention for determining the minimum wage. If we succeed, the government will leave us to negotiate and decide about the level of minimum wage. The ILO Convention on Minimum Wages lists many elements, both social and economic, but without specific mandatory criteria. It is impossible for us to reach consensus on the interest of the workers. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanya. And that